Hi, the Mudbrooker here. Today I am going to use my cast iron wok to make a Korean barbecue style pork stir fry. Now in order to do that I first have to make my sauce, but before I do that I'd like to say thank you to my channel members: The Needy Homesteader, Grampy Lobster, Mr. Smith's Kitchen, S. Wheatley 27, Ron Thompson, Loretta Comer, Billy Lee Lawhan, Dennis Fott, Karen Neal, Richard from Canada, Mel Good, Life with Crystal Rose, Me and You Acres, Mary Ranch, Rachel Tremblay, Beagle Mama, Greg Boone, Morwenna Thieker, Linda Jasper, Linda Neff, and Fred Revels. I greatly appreciate the support, and in your honor today, since I'm making a Asian dish, I will of course be drinking some ouzo. Some ouzo that does not want to open. There we go. A little more. There we go. Here's to you guys. Your support is greatly appreciated. Oh, that's good. Anyhow, like I said, I'm going to make a Korean style barbecue sauce for my stir fry. It's not terribly difficult. You start off with 3/4 of a cup of soy sauce. Put them all in a nice pan. Let me get my heat going. There we go. Start over a medium heat. You want 3/4 cup soy sauce, 1/4 cup of water, 1/4 cup of mirin. Now mirin is a rice wine. It's pretty similar to sake. And in fact, you can use sake as a substitute. It's a little bit sweeter than sake. This is rice cooking wine. That's a good substitute too. If you can't find sake or rice cooking wine or mirin, you can also use a cooking sherry, like a dry sherry. You could use you can use rice wine vinegar, as long as you sweeten it up with a little bit of sugar, because this is, like I said, a bit sweeter than sake. But you're best off either with actual mirin, rice cooking wine, or sake. Anyway, let's see now. Let me check my recipe here. Got the mirin in there. 2 tablespoons of sesame oil, which I have right here. There's 1. There's 2. A tablespoon of rice vinegar. I will need a cup of brown sugar. Splash. Dump that in there, get that out of the way. I'll need about a 1/2 teaspoon or a teaspoon of crushed red pepper. I don't have a crushed red pepper, but I do have some cayenne peppers that I dehydrated over the summer. So I'm going to take one of them, throw them in my little grinder here, and buzz that up. Probably should have broke it up a little bit first, but it is chopping up pretty good. There we go. That's pretty good sized flakes. So I will give that, oh, maybe a teaspoon or so. Yeah, put them all in there. Okay, got the red pepper in there. Need to hit that again. You'll need some hot sauce. It calls for sriracha, but I ain't really a fan of sriracha. You want about a tablespoon of hot sauce. This is Louisiana Crystal, which is my personal favorite. About a 1/2 tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon. You'll want about a tablespoon or so of fresh ground ginger. about a tablespoon or so of minced garlic. Well, maybe about half. We'll see how that goes. It also calls for 1 chopped scallion or green onion, but I have some shallots left that I want to use up, so I got a chopped shallot. Yeah, that's probably a couple of tablespoons worth there. Let me check my recipe here. Garlic, black pepper, and I believe that is everything. Now I'm going to bring this to a boil and let it simmer for a little while, maybe about 5-6 minutes, and I'll be back once I got this simmering along. This has been simmering for about 5 minutes, so I'm going to give her a taste and see where we're at. I've never made this before, so I'm not sure exactly how it's going to turn out, but tasting it so far is really good. And it is really good. It's a little bit salty. You could use low sodium soy sauce if you prefer, but give it a try just like this and see how it turns out. And I think I'd like a little bit more heat to it, so I'm going to give her another slug of hot sauce. Work that in, see how she does. Other than that, that is really good. Next step of this is to thicken it up. Yeah, that's better. I'm going to thicken this up, but before I thicken it, I'm going to save a little bit out and let it cool off some, and use that to marinate my pork strips that I have all cut up. I cut those out of boneless loin chops, so I'm just going to let them cool off a bit before I put the marinade on there. Like I said, I want to thicken this. I have about 3 tablespoons of cornstarch and maybe a 1/4 cup of water, and it's all mixed up and dissolved. Whenever you dissolve cornstarch or flour, always use cold water. If you use hot water, it'll clump up and it won't dissolve and you'll get lumps. But I'm going to add a bit of that cornstarch, a little at a time, and turn my heat up a little bit so it comes back to a boil a little quicker. Now with cornstarch or flour, when you're thickening something, when you add it in at first, you'll see that it gets kind of cloudy. And once it gets back to a boil, I'll know just how thickened it is. But you can see that it is thickened up a little bit already. Crank this up good. There we go. And you just keep stirring it and slowly stirring it in. And I think I'm going to need a little bit more. I don't want it real super thick. I don't want to solidify it. But I want it nice and thick so that it sticks to the meat good. Anyway, when you first pour in a starch to thicken something, it'll be cloudy because it isn't cooked. You want to keep it cooking until it clears up. Once it's cleared up, the starch is cooked through, and you're going to get your full thickening effect. And you won't have a raw flour taste to your gravy or something like that. And you can see that's clearing right up. Get my hand out of the way. Do this left-handed. And that's thickened up pretty good. So what I'll do is I'll turn this off, cover it, and let it sit. You can use it now when it's hot, and any leftovers you can go ahead and put those in a jar, put them in the fridge, and according to the recipe I got from this, it should last 2 or 3 weeks in your fridge. Anyway, I'm going to cover that up, and now that it's cooled down a bit, I'm going to pour this sauce onto my pork strips. I'm going to let these marinate for a couple of hours. So, in a couple hours, I'm going to come back and going to stir fry these in my cast iron wok over on my wood cook stove. Alright, my pork bits have been marinating for a couple of hours in that sauce. I've got the rest of the sauce sitting over here, kind of warming up a little bit. Got my wok preheating on the back of the stove, so that's fairly warm already. I have a nice fast hot fire going. So I think I'm ready to go. Put my wok on right over the fire, and we'll get that up to cooking temperature. Shouldn't take very long. Like I said, it's already fairly warm to begin with. Now, playing with this cast iron wok a bit over the summer, I've noticed a lot of people say you should start off with a really hot wok and cold oil and you won't have problems with things sticking. With a cast iron one though, instead of the regular steel woks, it seems it works better if you get the oil good and hot too before you add anything to it. I also have a fair bit of meat here, and you don't want to overload the wok. You want it to fry real fast, so I'm probably going to end up doing this in probably 3 batches, maybe 4, I don't know for sure. We'll see exactly how much it comes out. So I'll cook that up, take some out, throw some more in until I get it all cooked up, and then I will put the sauce on. I think we're just about ready to cook. So I'll put a little oil in there and we'll see what happens. Fair bit of oil. Kind of slop that around. And that'll help warm the oil up quicker too. I can see it's getting shimmery on the side. I want this, I think, to where it's just starting to smoke. I'll test her out here. I'll just dip a little corner in here. Yeah, it seems to be pretty good. So, grab a little bit of meat. Smells really good. Give it just a little more oil and repeat the process. sauce a little closer. The wok is cooling off a little bit. But that's okay. I'll let it warm up a little bit more here before my next batch. And this will be the last of the meat that I need to cook up. It'll get cooked a little bit more when I sauce everything too, so. You see there's a little bit of residue that's cooking on to the sides. That's fine. The meat itself isn't sticking at all, so that's the way I want things to be. Okay, that should be heated up good. Throw the last bit of meat in there. Now, I'm going to take the rest of my meat, put that back in. Cook that just a little bit. I know some of you people who are annoyed by scraping are going to be annoyed by this, but that's just how it is. Now, I'll grab my sauce. Ooh, that's boiling again. I didn't really want to boil that again, but that's okay. Grab a little bit of my sauce. Now pull this off of the fire. It isn't quite so violently cooking. Should have known that sauce would start boiling again. Kind of a hot spot on the stove there. In fact, I'm going to let this sit for a minute. I'm going to take that right away. And that should be done. Grab a clean bowl here. Set that aside. Move my wok, oops, drop the hot pad all the way over there. Get this out of the way. I have some rice up here in the warming oven staying warm. Move my camera around so you can see what I'm doing here. And now I'm ready to serve some up. Get that out of the way. Scoop up a little bit of my rice that I had. Get some of this wonderful looking barbecue pork. And there you have it. Korean style barbecue pork stir fry. Let me give this a little taste. That is fantastic. It's got a good sweetness to it, a good spiciness. I'm definitely going to be making this a lot more often. It's the first time I ever really tried it, and I am just tickled to death with it. So, thank you for watching. I'm going to go eat my supper, and I hope you have a nice day.